detail on a current active deal. But on an owner follow-up deal, the detail might be some, aspects of what my plan of action is to do with this customer. I'm gonna call him in 30 days, or I'm gonna call him in 60 days, I'm gonna talk about this. So that when he recycles up on my work plan, I have some memory of what goes on. Personal details could have to do with anything. Guy's got a son at college, right? Those personal details will let you start the next conversation, right? The reason why that's important to have this information is the CRM is because sometimes Bill will be calling a guy, right? And then all of a sudden it shows up on Abraham's plan. If Abraham sees those notes and details in the deal, he needs to switch it back over to Bill, is what I'm trying to say. Because we don't need 70 people calling this one guy, right? Now, if he's not there anymore, if Bill decides to leave and go somewhere else, and Abraham's looking at it, then he can see the details and he can start right there on his next call and begin to make sense to that customer. Do you understand what I mean? So those details in the CRM are going to become extremely important as we go through this, go in this process, and they're written in that process for you, right? So, but the idea is, and Bobby kind of gave us an image a few weeks ago of trying to get people on the Ferris wheel. The idea is to get them on the Ferris wheel, right? Not really sure when they're going to get off, but they're just going around. The idea is to start making repetitive contact with this customer over a period of time, right? Now, imagine you're at a funeral and it's one of your friends, his dad just died, right? And you're at his dad's funeral, and you walk over to the customer. You walk over to the guy, and you say, "Bob, I'm really sorry, about your dad, and but if there's anything I can do for you, please give me a call." Would that be something common that we would say? Mm-hmm. What do you think Bob is thinking when you say that? Is he appreciative? Maybe. Does he think he's going to call you because he needs something? Never. Right? He's not. He's not calling you. It's kind of just a statement we make that's just polite, right? Nobody really believes it. When you make a call to a customer in an owner base and a database, most of you do exactly the same thing. And the customer sees it exactly the same way. If there's anything I can do for you, would you please call me? Does the customer believe that? Probably not. Maybe. Is he going to call you? No. Because he sees it as a form of politeness. Right? I'm trying to get these customers to do something. Right? I'm trying to get these customers to remember me. I'm trying to get these customers to allow me to continue to follow up. Right? So part of your plan of action should be something that you just do for them. Right? And it could be different on a different customer depending on how that goes down. Not ask them, if there's anything you need, please call me. It's more like, can I do this for you? Right? And that leads into part of it of when we prospect a household and we're trying to determine the next car that's going to be replaced in that household, of creating a plan to be in front of them when that car is going to be replaced. So it changes, but could I do this? In another month, I'd like to look at this and send you this. Would that be okay? The same response will be the same, yes, because they're going to be polite as well, right? But now you have a plan of action that begins to move you in connection with that customer. The idea is, how do I create that connection? And you have to understand that I only create that connection repetition over time. A lot of contact in the beginning, no overtime, you don't create the relationship, right? You sell a car to a guy, you call him the next day, you call him in 3 days, you call him when his plates are in, You call him to set up his first service appointment. You never call him again for 8 months. Will he ever remember your name? Even though you had a lot of repetition in the beginning, right? Doesn't work that way. You call the guy once every 4 months, over 3 years. Will the guy remember your name? Probably not. Might. Probably not. Because there's not enough repetition over that period of time. Right? There's not enough reoccurring repetition over that time. So set yourself a goal on these calls, and these are the kind of calls that you need to make to begin to build yourself a customer base, right? Especially if you're new. You would have to do more people that you talk to that you didn't know before, right? And what you're trying to do is build yourself a record pamphlet of people that come in and are going to be buying a car in November, in December, in January, February, the next year. So that you can begin to create plan of actions to be in front of them. There'll come a time, and we talked about it last Saturday, but I want to emphasize it again. The tipping point is about 600 people in your database. When you get about 600 people in your database, that's going to translate, just that database, if you're making those calls, that's going to translate into about 10 cars a month, right? And then your goal would be 10 created and less here. So if you needed to sell 12, you need to depend on the market less and less. That's what we're trying to do, is depend on the market less and less till you get into a point. Do you think Ali Retta, everybody knows who Ali Retta is, right? Do we or we don't? So Ali Retta, we saw some things a few months ago. He set the Guinness Book of World Records, most cars sold in a year. I think it was 1,453, right? He sells over 100 cars a month, 120 cars a month. How many of them do you think are by waiting on floor traffic?
Zero.
Like the answer is 0. People that wait on floor traffic typically will max out somewhere around 20 cars a month. Then they're done. It's a lot to meet somebody, meet a stranger, right? Create the BLT, do all that sort of thing, and to, spend 4 or 5 hours with this guy to sell a car and do that every day and sell 20 cars a month. Typically, that's where they max, right? We've all been in a position, how many people have ever sold more than 1 car in a day? How many have ever sold more than 2 cars a day? Okay, so how many have ever sold more than 3 cars a day? So selling 3 cars a day is possible, right? It is possible. So if you can do that, and you work 22 days of the month, why aren't you selling 66 cars? Why aren't we selling 66 cars? I can sell 3 cars. I've done it. Right? Ollie's selling about 6 cars a day. Every day. Every day. How's that possible on floor traffic? It's not. How's it possible to get to a level where you're making really professional wages in this business? It's not on floor traffic. And if you believe it is on floor traffic, you're kidding yourself. You're believing that first lie you were told when you started working here. Just be nice, help people get a good deal, you'll sell some cars. And maybe 20 cars a month, working your ass off 75 hours a week to get 20 cars a month is what you want to do. I love it. Be great. But maybe what you want to do is make professional wages. You have the same opportunity. We have the same hours in a day. The interesting thing about Ali Retta is how many days a week do you think Ali Retta works?
7.
He works 5. What time does he go home at night? He stays at work late 2 nights a week. What do you think late is in Detroit? 7 o'clock. Every other day he goes home at 6. Works 5 days a week. Goes home every day at 6, except 2 days a week he stays till 7. And he sells 6 cars a day. Is he on a different level in our thinking? Right? Did it happen overnight for him? No. But at some point he got in his mind, I need to figure out a way to make really professional way. He makes so much money that General Motors pays part of his salary. And I haven't had Hyundai call me and say, by God, give Bill some money. Right? So the question is, the question is when do we start accomplishing that? Right? When do we start accomplishing that? And it all starts from making a decision in your mind, I'm going to start doing this. You have to mentally see, this is the direction I want to go, I'm going to start. And you get better and better and better and better at it. How long does it take you to get to that point? I don't know. For me personally, when I was a salesperson, it took me about 5 years to get to a point where I could count on 25 sales a month without waiting on enough. And there's a lot better salespeople than I was in this room. The question is when do you get started?